Between 1941 and 1945, the United States government told every single family in America the same thing. Stock up. Ration carefully. Prepare your household for the long haul. Not because they were paranoid, not because they were extreme, because the supply chain was already breaking. Shelves were going empty, and the items that disappeared first were not luxury goods. They were the basics: sugar, meat, soap, coffee, kerosene. The families who had stocked up before the rationing started were fine. The ones who waited were not. Here is what nobody talks about. The exact same supply pressures that triggered World War II rationing exist right now. Global shipping disruptions, agricultural shortages, manufacturing bottlenecks, energy instability. The categories are identical. Only the trigger is different. These are the 16 items every World War II family stockpiled, why they stockpiled them, and why the exact same logic applies to your household today. Number 16. White sugar. Sugar was the very first food rationed in the United States. May 1942. Each person was limited to half a pound per week. Within days of the announcement, sugar was gone from shelves entirely. The families who had quietly built a reserve before anyone was talking about it had sugar. Everyone else did not. White sugar sealed in an airtight container lasts indefinitely. No degradation, no expiration, and its value goes far beyond sweetness. It is a food preservative, a fermentation base, the fastest available calorie source under physical stress. The World War II lesson is brutal and simple. The announcement of a shortage and the shortage itself arrive at the same moment. The only protection is being stocked before anyone is paying attention. Number 15. Coffee. Coffee was rationed in November 1942. 1 cup per adult per day. That was it. Morale on the American home front dropped noticeably within weeks. Military planners had specifically identified coffee as a morale-critical item. When it disappeared, the psychological impact on civilian households was immediate and documented. Freeze-dried instant coffee sealed in vacuum packaging retains full potency for 20 years or more. In any disruption scenario, a hot cup of coffee is not comfort food. It is a signal that your household is still functioning, that normal is still possible. World War II families understood this at a level most people today have never had to. Number 14. Canned meat and fish. By March 1943, meat, canned fish, and canned milk were all under strict government rationing. The military needed tin for ammunition casings, the same tin used in every can on your grocery shelf. Canned chicken, canned tuna, canned salmon, canned corned beef. 3 to 5 year shelf lives. Complete protein, no refrigeration required. Here is the specific World War II insight that most people miss. Families who had even a modest canned protein reserve before March 1943 maintained nutritional stability through the entire rationing period. Families who had not faced genuine protein deficiency within months. The supply chain pressure on canned goods today, driven by aluminum costs and manufacturing consolidation, is the closest structural parallel to 1943 that has existed in the 80 years since. Number 13. Cooking fats. Fats were rationed in 1943 and stayed under strict control through the end of the war. Every homemaker was required to save used cooking fat and turn it into collection points. That fat was processed into glycerin for explosives manufacturing. Lard, shortening, vegetable oil. In a rationed environment, cooking fat is not a convenience. It is what makes bland staples edible. It delivers fat-soluble vitamins your body cannot absorb without it. It is the calorie density multiplier that turns a bowl of beans into a sustaining meal. Ghee lasts 2 to 5 years sealed. World War II families treated cooking fat as a strategic reserve. Your pantry should too. Number 12. Salt, in large quantities. Salt was not rationed during World War II, which is exactly why prepared families hoarded it. The moment rationing began on surrounding items, families recognized salt as the one preservation ingredient that remained freely available. And they bought as much as they could carry. Because without salt, the entire preservation system collapses. You cannot brine, you cannot cure, you cannot ferment, you cannot extend the life of any perishable food through low-tech methods without it. Pure, non-iodized salt has no shelf life. It lasts indefinitely. A 25-pound bag costs under $15. Stock more than you think you need. You will use every pound of it. Number 11. Soap and cleaning supplies. Soap production was heavily restricted during World War II because the fats used to make soap were diverted to explosives manufacturing. Civilian soap supplies dropped sharply. Families that had stocked bars, liquid soap, and cleaning agents maintained a hygiene baseline that others could not. This matters more than most people expect. In any extended disruption, hygiene collapse accelerates illness spread within days. Wound infection and gastrointestinal illness from contaminated surfaces both become serious health threats fast. Bar soap sealed in original packaging stores for years without degradation. World War II families stocked cleaning supplies as seriously as food. The reasoning has not changed. Number 10. Candles and kerosene. Electrical consumption was strictly controlled on the World War II home front. Blackout regulations required every household to maintain non-electrical lighting at all times, not as emergency backup, as standard equipment. A kerosene lamp with 1 gallon of fuel provides 40 hours of steady light. A pack of 12 household candles provides 60 to 100 hours combined. Here is what most people have not done the math on. The average power outage in the United States has increased in duration by over 300% since the year 2000. Grid aging, extreme weather, infrastructure underfunding. World War II families kept non-electrical lighting as standard household infrastructure. The grid trends of the last 2 decades suggest that framing was exactly right. Number 9. First aid supplies and a home medical kit. During World War II, hospital capacity was strained. Doctors were deployed overseas. Civilian medical access contracted sharply. Every household was instructed to maintain a functional home medical kit. Bandaging, antiseptic, basic wound care. Over-the-counter medications. The government published pamphlets on home wound treatment specifically because professional care could not be guaranteed. That dynamic has been documented in every major crisis event since. A complete wound care kit runs $20 to $40. Medications stored in cool, dry conditions retain effectiveness for years past their printed dates. What World War II families kept as standard household equipment, most modern households do not own at functional levels. Number 8. Warm clothing and wool blankets. Clothing was rationed in Britain from 1941. In the United States, new clothing became nearly impossible to source as textile manufacturing shifted entirely to military production. World War II families adapted fast. You wore what you had. You repaired what wore out. And you kept wool blankets specifically because wool retains heat even when wet, requires no power to function, and lasts for decades under basic care. In a heating disruption scenario, a quality wool blanket is not a comfort item. It is functional insulation that works when nothing else does. World War II Army surplus wool blankets are still available today and still fully functional. That is an 80-year proof of concept. Number 7. Hand tools. World War II metal shortages made new tools nearly impossible to source. The families who already owned quality hand tools maintained functional households. The ones who did not, could not replace what broke. A manual can opener, a hand-powered grain mill, basic carpentry tools, a sharpening stone. Grid-independent tools do not require a supply chain to function. They work when the infrastructure around them has stopped working. A quality manual can opener costs $8. It will outlast everyone who owns it. And it functions identically with or without electricity. World War II families treated hand tools as non-negotiable household infrastructure. Number 6. Seeds and garden supplies. By 1943, Victory Gardens were producing 40% of all vegetables consumed in the United States. 20 million gardens were planted by civilians, on rooftops, in backyards, and on vacant lots. Rationing made commercial produce unreliable and expensive. The government did not just suggest Victory Gardens, they built national campaigns around them, distributed seed catalogs, hosted community planting events, because a family that grows even a portion of its own food is meaningfully more resilient than one that does not. Heirloom seeds, stored sealed in a cool, dry location, remain viable for 3 to 7 years. A full kitchen garden seed kit costs $20 to $30. The 40% of American vegetables grown in Victory Gardens did not come from experience. It came from necessity and basic seed stock. Both are available right now. Number 5. Batteries and basic electrical supplies. Consumer battery production was sharply curtailed during World War II as materials were redirected to military use. Flashlights with no batteries, radios that went silent. The families who had stocked batteries maintained communication and light access through every phase of the war. The ones who had not lost both simultaneously. Modern lithium batteries stored in cool, dry conditions retain 80% of their charge for up to 10 years. Stock more than you think you need. Rotate annually. World War II families who learned this lesson the hard way passed it to their children as non-negotiable household practice. Number 4. Vinegar. Vinegar was not rationed during World War II, but prepared households treated it as strategically critical, because vinegar is the backbone of low-tech food preservation. Pickling, vegetable preservation, meat treatment, surface sanitization, fabric care. White vinegar is built on acetic acid. It is inherently self-preserving. No expiration date, no degradation. A bottle purchased today is chemically identical to one purchased in 1943. World War II families who maintained vinegar supplies could extend the shelf life of fresh produce in ways that vinegar-poor households simply could not. At today's prices, a gallon of white vinegar costs under $4 and provides years of preservation and sanitation utility. Number 3. A water storage and filtration system. World War II bombing campaigns in Europe made municipal water systems primary targets. British families were instructed to maintain stored water and household filtration capability as standard civil defense practice, not emergency response, baseline preparation. FEMA's current guidance is 1 gallon per person per day for a minimum 72-hour supply. That is the floor, not the ceiling. A household of 4 needs 120 gallons for a 30-day minimum supply. Food-grade storage containers, filtration tablets, a gravity filtration system. The World War II civil defense principle was direct. You cannot control whether infrastructure fails. You can control whether your household has water when it does. Number 2. A hand crank or battery-powered radio. During World War II, the radio was the single most critical information tool available to civilian households. Evacuation orders, air raid warnings, rationing announcements. All of it came through the radio. Households that had one maintained situational awareness through every phase of the war. Those that did not had to rely on whatever their neighbors happened to hear. In every major disaster of the last 3 decades, cell networks have failed within hours. Internet access has dropped, but the radio signal has kept transmitting. A hand crank NOAA weather radio costs $15 to $30. It requires no batteries, no grid power, and no cell service. It works when every other information channel has gone dark. World War II families treated the radio as non-negotiable. That logic has not changed by a single degree. Number 1. A 3-month food reserve. Built before you need it. This is the item that every World War II preparedness campaign led with. Not a specific food, not a single product. A reserve. Built in advance, deep enough to absorb a supply disruption of meaningful duration. The World War II Office of Civilian Defense specifically recommended a 3-month household food supply as the baseline for home front resilience. Not extreme preparedness, rather standard civilian practice during a period of acknowledged supply uncertainty. 3 months of food for a household of 4 does not require special facilities or significant expense. It can be built gradually. It requires buying slightly more than you consume each week, storing it correctly, and rotating it as you use it. That is the entire system. The World War II families who followed that guidance ate through every phase of rationing without crisis. The families who waited for conditions to stabilize before preparing discovered that conditions did not stabilize on a schedule that allowed for preparation. Here is the question worth sitting with tonight. The conditions that triggered World War II rationing disrupted supply chains, production bottlenecks, energy instability, geopolitical pressure on global shipping routes. How many of those conditions exist right now? Your grandparents did not wait for someone to confirm it was serious before they started. Neither should you. If this list made you think about something you do not have yet, drop it in the comments. And if you want the complete step-by-step stockpile system, the next video is right there.